All right, welcome in. It is week one of the college football season, which means it is time for another episode of the Merrifield Sportsbook Show with Jay Walsh, Jay DeCoster, Matt Merrifield. I am Nick Burt. And guys, as we are recording on Tuesday of week 1 week, just hope is in the air right now. College football, you can basically taste it in the air. I mean, all of us, well, Jay, you're not in Michigan, but I'm sure you're feeling the same, like 40-degree nights, like football weather is here. And also on this Tuesday, I'd be remiss if we don't start off with the biggest news of the day. Broke right around 1 p.m. today that Drake will host Robert Morris as part of their non-conference schedule this year, as per John Rothstein. Matt Merrifield, I know you were just absolutely enamored by this news today when it broke.
Yes, it is the most notable thing that happened today, and all I hope is that the rest of you gentlemen weren't in the same situation I was in when certain news broke this afternoon. For those that don't know, Taylor Swift is now engaged to Travis Kelce. For those of you that weren't in a golf cart with your girlfriend when it happened.
Yeah.
I want it on the record. The last shot I took before the news broke, the wind was at my back. I drove the green 310 yards. So,
damn.
Did I birdie the hole? No comment.
So you didn't 3-putt, did you?
Well, I didn't 4-putt, so yes, I did.
Oh my!
3-putt Tony. It was a good par. Tough track. Next question.
Well, I mean, you can't follow that up. What incredible golf analysis here from Matt Merrifield. Again, huge day. That was big breaking news. College basketball season still right around the corner. But yeah, week one of college football. Jay Walsh, how are you feeling as we go into this week one?
Feeling excited. Obviously, football right around the corner. Ready to have it back. Ready to have, as you said, the cooler weather back. I'm sick of it being 95 degrees. Really hoping that fall temperatures last more than like the usual 2 weeks that they tend to before it turns into winter, but not feeling optimistic. So we're just focusing on football being back for now, and we're ready to get into it.
Jay, obviously you being in the Chicago area, I know they are just dying for college football to be back on the lake with Northwestern. And of course, you can't count out the always undefeated DePaul Blue Demon football team. They have not played a game since World War II. How are the vibes right now, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, DePaul footballs will always remain undefeated. Not that team up north and Northwestern. I mean, I'm excited as well. We got NFL and college back. Obviously really excited for this loaded week one slate. I'm not, obviously you guys are going to be at that game on Friday night. I was looking at the weather just randomly. That weather in East Lansing is going to be like in the high 50s, for nighttime. Like that's just peak football weather. I absolutely love it. So it's not going to be the typical 80-degree week one game we always get. So love it.
That sounds like a beautiful day for football right there.
Yeah, Matt, you do not seem thrilled by this 50-degree woke nonsense weather that we're going to get for week one.
I guess I can't complain. I will. It's fine because I'll have plenty of beverages at the Munn tailgate. I'll have to, there's a lot of stops I have to make on Friday afternoon. A lot of different places I need to get to in my return to campus and post-grad life. But shout out Jay Bat for, making game day great again. He's teasing some more things, just trickling in some more teasers for Spartan fans. So you can only imagine. But all we know is that when Thunderstruck plays at like 6:58 on Friday night, I probably won't even know what's happening, but that's fine.
Incredible analysis there. Let's just get into the action because lot of football coming up this week one. We got, I think, 6 games we're going to preview, and then, of course, we'll get to our picks. We're going to start with the game that we mentioned last week. It is going to be on Friday night. Matt Merrifield probably disappointed he will be in Spartan Stadium during it, but nevertheless, here we are. It is Auburn, a 2.5-point favorite, traveling to Waco to take on Baylor. The over is 57.5. Jay Walsh, will go to you first. It feels like it's a huge game for both of these teams, even though it's just week one. Could be a real, trendsetter for how their seasons are going to go.
For sure. And I mean, as you said, we mentioned this game quite a bit last week. I think obviously, I mean, it's a big game for Baylor. I think this is, as you said, this is the trendsetter for Auburn. I mean, we talked about they've got a very difficult schedule coming up. They need to win this game. It's going to be obviously a tough game playing in Waco. It's against a very solid Baylor team. We don't know what this Auburn team is going to be. A lot of people don't think it's going to be anything great. Kind of myself included. I would lean, especially being a home dog, I'm taking Baylor here easily. I would probably take them to win this game. In terms of the over-under, I know it's week one and it's probably sacrilege. I'm going to go under 57.5 here. I think this has the potential to just be a really kind of sloppy football game. I could see this game ending kind of low to mid 20s for each side. I'm going to go under, and I'm going to go Baylor with the plus 2.5 here.
Jay, we'll go to you next. Obviously, I mean, you really couldn't ask for, a better matchup between, two power teams coming into week one. Obviously, we have a few more scattered in here, but, really good matchup to open the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, like Jay Walsh said, I mean, Auburn's got a gauntlet for the entire season. They have to get off to a good start. And obviously, Hugh Freeze is on the hot seat, and they got a lot of expectations, as they always do in the Plains. But for this spot, I mean, McLean's a very underrated place, very kind of tough place to play, when Baylor is good. And obviously, we talked last week. I am high on Baylor this year, and it's a good spot with them. You got Sawyer Robertson returning. It's at home at night. I'm going to lean Baylor in this spot. I just think I'm not really a Jackson Arnold guy. He was a freshman last year, and he could easily turn it around. But from what we've been seeing in camp now, camp is camp. He can easily. We haven't seen him play an actual game yet, but he hasn't looked great. And I feel like the vibes are kind of down with Auburn right now, and I feel like it's just two programs that are trending in opposite directions. So for that reason, I'm going to lean Baylor in the spot at home. And I would also lean the under. I think that's just too many points and it can get sloppy. So, give me Baylor and the under as well here.
Matt, we'll go to you next. I know you love this game since basically you saw it on the schedule against these two teams. I know you are just dying to talk about Baylor and the chrome helmets being back and how they're just going to roll over this Auburn team.
I mean, first off, yes, the chrome helmets are back, similar to the, Bryce Petty, Art Briles vibes of Baylor football, the glory days right after RG3 was there. But I really love Baylor in this spot. I not only like them plus 2.5, but they are part of my picks for the week, of my official, picks that we keep a record of. Right now, the public is all over Auburn. 93% of the spread bets, 93% of the money is on Auburn. The line still hasn't moved for whatever reason. I think 80% of the actual bets placed are on Auburn as well on the road as a road favorite. Line hasn't moved, like I said. I don't trust Hugh Freeze and this Auburn team. Like, yes, Peyton Thorne's been their quarterback the last 2 years, but they've gone 5-7 and 6-6, 7-6, whatever they went that first year. I think it was 6-7 because they lost that bowl game to Maryland, which is the point I'm about to get to. I don't trust him. Jackson Arnold, I don't know, remember if it was Jay Walsh or Jay that said it. Like he's got a lot of talent, but he has to play to that talent, and he didn't at all last year at Oklahoma. And Peyton Thorne didn't become a world beater when he went to Auburn. His best years were still with Kenneth Walker and Jalen Naylor and Jaden Reed at Michigan State. So I'm not a huge fan of Auburn in this spot. And the other thing too is, Auburn lost at home last year to Cal. Cal was a solid football team, but there's no excuse for Auburn to lose to Cal in any context. They struggled at Cal the year prior, and they lost to Maryland in a bowl game in 2023 on a neutral site. So it's not like it's SEC versus everybody. We saw it a little bit last year where the SEC kind of struggled in spots against solid teams from other conferences. And in this spot again, I really like Baylor. They retain a lot. They're going to be good defensively with Coach Aranda. So give me the Bears to sick them on Friday night.
And I mean, all good points here, but the fact that Auburn might be running a 3-quarterback system on Friday night, I mean, I know that was talked about last week. Hugh Freeze mentioned that. That scares me. If you have, the saying, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. So what does that mean if you have 3 quarterbacks? Does that mean you have -1 quarterbacks? I don't know. I'm scared to figure out what this Auburn team is going to be if they play 3 quarterbacks. So give me the Bears, home team getting points. There's nothing better than that. We're going to roll with Baylor here. Let's move on to Saturday, and it's the big noon kickoff. I mean, it's number 1 Texas going to Ohio State, who's number 2 in the coaches poll, 3 in the AP poll. Ohio State's a 2.5-point favorite. An absolutely massive game to open up the season, Jay DeCoster. The fact this is big noon, obviously, is shambolic, but here we are anyways with an absolutely monumental tilt to open the season.
Yeah, it's fascinating because you have two, you got the most hyped up QB prospect in a long time, Arch Manning, along with Julian Sand, who is a sophomore, who was also very highly regarded. Obviously when Will Howard was there, Ohio State fans are thinking about Julian Sand for the future. Well, now is his opportunity to prove himself. Obviously Ohio State loses a ton. They lose Sawyer. They lose a lot of NFL talent on that defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can replenish that. I'm sure they'll be fine. They still have Caleb Downs, who's a stud. But in terms of this game, I'm going to go with Ohio State in the spot. I just think the game being at home, and it's Arch's first, I don't think it's his first career start, but it's his first real start, and you're facing the reigning national champs. It's going to be a great game. I would lean the under in the spot. I think that the two defenses, Anthony Hill, the middle linebacker for Texas, leads that group, and Caleb Downs leading that other group. Those two defenses are still going to be really good. I think the two offenses could get off to a little bit of a sloppy start. So I will lean under in this spot. I think it's going to be more of a defensive battle. So I will still lean with Ohio State. I just think, their skill position players are still all otherworldly. It's just going to be tough for Texas to contain them. So I will take Ohio State in the spot minus the 2.5.
Matt, we'll go to you next. As Jay mentioned, this is, monumental game for both of these quarterbacks. The first true game that they're going to be starting in. I know Arch Manning got a few starts last year when Quinn Ewers was injured, but none of them were to the magnitude that this game is going to be at.
Yeah, in this spot, I don't like either side enough to I would not put money on this game. I would just sit back and enjoy a top 3 matchup to kick off the season. Both teams, I like the fact that they didn't make a ton of splashes in the portal. What I just saw, none of Ohio State's expected starters are from the portal. Although, I believe Jay mentioned, they're losing Sawyer on the defensive end, losing some other defensive pieces. It's reload with the talent that they have. Texas is a similar situation. They had a really good defense last year. I think the biggest difference, obviously, both quarterbacks getting their feet wet in a big spot. And we kind of talked about it last week with Arch Manning. vibe, for lack of a better word, is just the attitude I think Arch Manning carries, and not only is it just the last name, but just the way he presents himself, the way he's played in the limited times we've seen. I think that's the quarterback I'd prefer to have in the spot. Now, we haven't seen any of Julian Sand, so maybe he turns out he is the next true quarterback prospect. He's got the weapons to show it on Saturday, but I really like Texas in the spot. I think I like their defense more, and then offensively, both are going to be really good, but I think I give a slight edge to Texas in the spot. I don't feel confident enough to bet it because technically Ohio State's the lower ranked team at home, but also preseason rankings shouldn't exist. So sit back and enjoy it. That's all I got to say. It's going to be an absolute great game, and two iconic programs, but I do lean Texas plus the 2.5.
And then Jay Walsh, we'll go to you next. Obviously, these are two of the biggest names in college football in Texas and Ohio State. Obviously, they met in the semifinals last year. They've only met 3 other times before that. And the first one came 20 years ago at the Horseshoe. It was Vince Young leading Texas to a victory over Ohio State. I believe final score was 25-22. I mean, this is just, it's everything you could ask for as a college football fan, this game opening up the season.
It is. And I mean, this is, to college football purists, this is what college football is supposed to be. I mean, this is what the non-conference schedule is supposed to be. It's supposed to be, hey, let's go out and play one of the other consensus top teams in the country, see where we stack up. This is one of the big time games that, as a college football fan, you want to see every year. Unfortunately, I feel like we're not going to see too many of them moving forward. So as Matt said, all you can do is just sit back and enjoy this one while we've got it. This should be a very good game. Obviously, 2 of the more talented rosters in the country. 2 teams that were obviously in the playoff last year. Obviously, Ohio State won it. It is an interesting one, though, because neither of these 2 teams return a ton of production from those teams. I mean, both of them rank outside of the top 100 nationally in returning production, considering both sides of the ball. Obviously, they both got playmakers returning. Obviously, I mean, Ohio State is the big ones are Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. They're going to be leaning on those guys all game long. But what I think this one is going to come down to, and it's interesting because both of these teams are going to have to combat this, is first-year starters. I mean, like we said, Arch Manning got a couple starts under his belt last year, but really this will be his first start against a real football team. So it'll be very interesting to see how he handles it, and especially on the road in one of the most hostile environments in college football, with a team that is as talented as Ohio State is, coming off a national championship, first game of the year. They're going to be ready to go. I think, obviously, Julian Sand also coming in, playing one of the most talented rosters. I think the fact that this game is in Columbus plays a big role in this game. I'm going to lean Ohio State here. I think, obviously, I mean, both of these 2 teams have the talent to win this game. I just think that the passion of the home crowd and just the heat of the moment, I think, might get a little bit too much for Arch Manning and this Texas team. So I'm going to lean Ohio State here. In terms of the over-under, again, this is a tough one because these teams obviously both have the talent to get over that 47.5 number. But at the same time, you got 2 brand new starters at quarterback. This thing could get really, really sloppy really, really quickly with the talent of both of these defenses. I'd probably lean the over here just because I think there's playmakers on both teams that they can lean on to get the job done. But I would not be surprised to see this game end with a lower number than previously thought.
Yeah, I mean, like I've kind of been saying, I am just glad this game is actually happening, opening up the season, because I mean, feel like other years they would have, scheduled this 10 years in advance, and then, around year 5, they would cancel it. I always remember, like, in NCAA 14, like Michigan State and Alabama had a home and home series scheduled, and then it got canceled somewhere along the way. It would have been a disaster, but it was still scheduled at one point that once you got like into year 4 of your dynasty, you were playing, Alabama in a home and home if you were Michigan State. But honestly, I wasn't sure about this game, but my mind was made up today at work. I was calling a vendor to try to get an order shipped out. Dude wanted to talk college football. He's like, yeah, I'm a huge Buckeye fan. Do you know anything about this Julian Sayin kid? I'm like, you know what? This was the sign. Ohio State's going to win this game at the Horseshoe. I don't know why, but I was originally leaning Texas because this would be Arch Manning's first of many wins in Ohio, because he's going to become a Brown in a few years. And when he leads them to the Super Bowl, it will be all great things. But I'm going to Ohio State. I just have to. Feels like they're going to win. Obviously, along with this game is going to be Lee Corso's final appearance on College Game Day. Just a quick one. I mean, if you had to put odds on what mascot he's going to wear at the end of the show, it's going to be Brutus minus like 1,000, right? Like it has to be. And then everybody's agreeing here. And of course, Matt, I know you texted me on Friday during the special that they put on ESPN, but Kirk Herbstreit going to be a mess on Saturday, probably for all 3 hours. Let's be honest. Going to be an absolutely brutal watch. But hey, we're going to probably see his dog 15 times. So does it really matter? Yeah. Do you guys have anything to say on this rambling I just went on about College Game Day?
Is he going to be crying as much as he did when Ohio State won the national championship, his alma mater?
Probably more than that. Wasn't he like crying at some point in like 2020? I don't remember what it was for. Like, was it the Big Ten canceling their season? I don't remember, but I feel like I remember him crying on game day for some reason. I don't know, but whatever. It's going to be more than that. Let's move on. A game I kind of just threw on here because 2 big names, but I don't think this game's going to be close. Alabama traveling to Tallahassee to take on Florida State. Alabama is a 13.5-point favorite. Matt, I'll start with you. This is Alabama start to finish, correct?
Oh, 100%. This is another one of my picks for the week. Bama, for those that don't know, had 0 additions to their defense from the portal. And I think they picked up like 3 on offense. Florida State's fall offense is brand new, and their quarterback is a 5'7" running back. I don't know what we're expecting here. We saw him. I mean, I know he's using BC weapons, but last year in that game against State, he wasn't even good. I know it was raining. Doesn't matter. He can't throw. If you've watched any Boston college football in the last 2 years, he can't throw. The fact that he's expected to be the saving grace, I just don't think it's going to work. And their defense was terrible, and they didn't even have that many pieces on defense. So I'm going to say this phrase once, and I'm probably going to say it, I think 2 or 3 more times before the end of the show. Death, taxes, and taking good SEC teams to dominate over bad football teams. And I think Florida State might be a bad team again this year. So, yeah, roll Tide.
All right, Jay Walsh, we'll go to you next. Your kind of thoughts here on what might become a disaster in Tallahassee.
I don't think it might become one. I think it will. 13 years ago, this would have been a hell of a football game. This would have been like on the level of Texas, Ohio State this year. This would have been one that you're looking forward to. This is not that Florida State team. I mean, they are not going to be very good this year. I mean, they're not even projected to be one of the best teams in a very, very, very mediocre ACC. Yeah, I don't see how they keep this one close. I think Alabama's in for a bounce back year. Kalen DeBoer always seems to do well in year two. They've obviously got the talent to do basically whatever they want to do. I think Alabama comes out angry. I think they come out looking to make a statement, looking to say, hey, guess what? We had a down year. We're still Alabama. I think they could win this game by 5 or 6 touchdowns. I think this could get ugly real fast.
Jay, we'll go to you next. Do you see any scenario where Florida State wins this game?
Yeah, no, absolutely not happening. They're coming off a 2-10 season. They didn't add anything, like Matt said. I don't trust Thomas Castellanos with my team. I'm good. So, but for Bama, I do like the addition of offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, who was on that Washington National Championship runner-up team. I think that's a big addition for them. And, we'll see how Ty Simpson does, but he's got all the weapons. There should be no problem for him for this game. It's roll tide all day. They should honestly win this by 24. They should absolutely just steamroll Florida State. I mean, Florida State has no business being in this game. So,
yeah. Death taxes, roll tide. All I gotta say, roll tide, roll. Will be in my picks later. Can already tell you that. Alabama by a lot. And the callers on the Feinbaum show will be happy on Monday. Not going to be screaming at the TV that they lost to, Thomas Castellanos and, butcher it. Butcher that name 15 times. But callers will be happy on Monday. Can't wait. Let's move on. A absolute monumental game to somewhat end your Saturday. The Battle of the Death Valleys. LSU traveling to Clemson. ACC SEC battle. This is another one of those games where it's just like, wow, we are blessed to have college football back in our lives. Jay Walsh, go to you first. This is a huge game for Brian Kelly's legacy at LSU because opening games of the season, they have not done well.
This is a pretty big game for LSU this year, just because, if they want to have a chance of, they're going to have a chance to compete for the playoff. Like I said at the beginning in our first episode, I think they do probably end up getting in. They need to win this game if they're going to. If they lose this game, they have very little chance in my mind of making it into the playoff. This is a huge game. And you took the words right out of my mouth, the battle for the real Death Valley. Despite the fact that I think LSU needs to win this game, I'm going to go with Clemson here. I think they're just overall the better roster. I said in the first episode, I don't think this LSU team is all that, simply because I don't think Nussmeier is all that. I very well could be proven wrong in this game. I just think when in doubt, I pick the better coach. And I think even though obviously there have been some question marks in recent years, Dabo Swinney is still the better coach. Also taking into account that they're at home. I don't love the 3.5 number because I think this could end up being a field goal game, but I will ride with Clemson here. In terms of the over-under, I like the over here. Despite the fact that both of these teams have talent on defense, LSU has really struggled defensively in recent years, and I think that their offense is very capable of putting up points. So I could easily see this game getting up into the mid to high 60s in terms of point total. So I'm going to go with the over.
Jay Coster, go to you next. I honestly kind of forgot that this is a rematch of the national championship game where LSU just kind of steamrolled Clemson. Um, but the fact this is in Clemson, it's not at a neutral site, like just makes this feel 10 times more big.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I feel like if you ask me, yeah, you got Clemson LSU. You asked me, well, where's this game? I feel like I told you, oh, it would have been in Charlotte. I'm thrilled that this is in Death Valley. It's great for college football. It's great for the fans. Obviously the Texas Ohio State game is going to be great. I feel like this game is one of my favorites just because two high-powered offenses. I mean, we're gonna find out what Garrett Nussmeier is last year. I mean, he showed some flashes, but I feel like this year is prove it for him. Same with Kate Klubnik. He had a pretty good year last year, but I mean, he's going to be in a Heisman contention. So two pretty good quarterbacks. And speaking of that, if you were to ask me what quarterback I would pick, to lead them in this game, I'd probably lean Kate Klubnik. I feel like he's got more arm talent, and I really like Clemson's weapons around him and what they added in the portal. Dabo Swinney actually used the portal this year, which was he never does that, so that's good for them. So I'm gonna go Clemson in this spot. I trust Kate Klubnik. I really high on Clemson this year. Obviously, the ACC is not good, but if they can get behind LSU and win, they're in a pretty good spot for the CFP. So I will lean Clemson. I will also take the over. LSU, all they do is throw the football. So, I mean, they're going to put up their points, and Kate Klubnik's going to do what he does. So I'll take Clemson. I really like Clemson this year and their roster and what they've added. It should be a phenomenal football game.
And Matt, we'll go to you next. I know you mentioned last week that the propaganda the SEC put out on Netflix has been influencing your picks. Is that affecting your pick in this game?
Well, when I initially made my picks yesterday and went through, I had 6 picks on my docket. Before the show started, I had 6 picks, but this game was one of the games yesterday. It is no longer. I originally had LSU plus 4.5. Now it's at 3.5. I'm very scared because I could see it being a 3-4 point game. Honestly, either way. I do still lean LSU in this game, but obviously the history of I'll just throw a quick question out there for you guys. You guys mentioned that 2019 season where these two teams met in the title game. Does anybody know the significance of that 2019 season for both of these teams that relates to this game? 2019 was the last time LSU won in week 1. The last time Clemson won at home against an SEC team was in week 2 of 2019 against A&M. They have not beaten South Carolina home since then. A lot of the SEC teams they've been on neutral sites, like when they've played Georgia and stuff like that. They've struggled against SEC teams as of late. I still lean LSU because history does not favor either one of these teams. I like Nussmeier more than Klubnik. I guess I lean Brian Kelly over Dabo Swinney. Neither are great options in the calendar year of 2025, but I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this game. The real deciding factor is LSU is the real Death Valley, so I feel like they'll go out on the road and prove that. But I'm just going to enjoy this game on a beautiful first Saturday night of college football season.
I mean, this is all you could truly ask for as a college football fan. I kind of found it hard to believe that these two teams have never played each other outside of a bowl game or national championship game. So LSU has never been to Death Valley. Clemson has never been to Death Valley. Obviously, two different ones there. The fact that Brian Kelly seems to very much struggle in week 1 at LSU. I remember the year they lost to Florida State in the or like the kickoff classic, like the Sugar Bowl kickoff classic, something like that at the Superdome. They lost to Florida State like on a missed PAT with like 2 seconds left. Last year's debacle against USC in Vegas. I kind of like Clemson in this spot. Ryan Kelly scares me. And that's really all that's behind it. Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier, I think, are on kind of equal levels. I don't really see a major difference between those two. So I'm just going to roll with the home team here, go with Clemson, and hope for the best here as I watch this game in the Keyworth Stadium press box on Saturday night, because shout out Detroit City FC playing a game against San Antonio FC Saturday night, 7 p.m. Can't wait. Let's move on. Sunday night, another game where it just we have been blessed with a great week one schedule this year, and it continues with Notre Dame as a 2.5-point favorite traveling down to Miami to face the Hurricanes. I know last week we did the no Canes propaganda, but is this year different, at least week one, for the Miami Hurricanes? Matt Merrifield, go to you first.
I mean, we went over this a week ago, and I got to go no. The only thing that kind of scares me about this game is the fact that CJ Carr is making his first career start. I don't even know if he's thrown a pass in his career. I don't think he actually got any playing time last year. But, man, I love what Marcus Freeman does with Notre Dame. They didn't need to add a lot in the portal. They just reload up front. They bring back a lot from last year's team, especially Jeremiah Love. I mean, how can you not take the national runner-up and to go on the road? They got to just cover 2.5. I don't like it enough to put money on it, but we all know what Miami's going to do. And the only other concern, Nick, I think you sent me the stat, is that Notre Dame has struggled mightily at Hard Rock Stadium, whether it's against Miami back when Braxton Berrios and Miami back when we thought Miami was back in like 2017. The national championship game in 2012, I believe, was at Hard Rock. So a lot of demons in South Beach for Notre Dame. But Carson Beck I can't see him being the guy that changes things for the Hurricanes in week one. So go Irish.
Yeah, Matt, with that stat, we're going to completely ignore that Notre Dame won the semifinal game in Miami last year. But hey, it is what it is. They still got a lot of demons out there, especially against the Hurricanes. Jay Walsh will go to you next. Carson Beck, obviously, it's going to be his first game starting for Miami, but he does have the vast amount of experience at the quarterback position compared to the opponent on the other side with CJ Carr.
Yes, he does. I'm going to try to be nice here. You all know my opinion on Carson Beck as a quarterback. I am not a fan. I think just blindly saying, yeah, he has more experience, so they're in better shape is not a great way to go, considering that experience is of not being a very good quarterback. But I digress. This is going to be an interesting one, just simply because, as Matt said, CJ Carr, you have no idea what you're going to get out of him. Going up against a capable Miami team, a talented Miami team, it could be interesting. However, I think Notre Dame is going to be able to just rely on Jeremiah Love in this game. I think this is a game he could easily eclipse 150 to 200 yards and just kind of carry them all the way. I'm rolling with Notre Dame here. I like Notre Dame a lot this year. I think they are a very good team. I don't know that they are a national title favorite, but I definitely would put them in that conversation of the contenders. I think they are just an overall very good team. Obviously, defense, they have one of the better running backs in the country in Jeremiah Love to kind of shoulder the load offensively, at least until CJ Carr kind of gets his feet under him. So I'm rolling with Notre Dame here. 49.5. Don't love that number. I'll probably go under and it'll probably lose. It'll probably be over 49.5, but I'm going to go with the under here to start.
All right, Jay, we'll go to you next. Another great game. Sunday night, Sundays are usually only one game, but I realized this year they have the Virginia Tech South Carolina game on Sunday also, which kind of threw me off. But hey, who's going to complain about more football? Jay, your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I'm also going to go with you guys. I just I mean, who knows what CJ Carr is? Is he a true freshman, I believe? But hey, he's Lloyd Carr's grandson, whatever. But I mean, they're going to rely on Jeremiah Love. They did lose a lot of pieces on defense, but they're going to replenish and reload. Notre Dame is just always a defense first team. I just, like you guys said, Carson Beck, a lot of question marks with him. Lost a lot of talent. I just don't see it. Miami doesn't have a home field advantage. I'm not going to play that in here. I'll take Notre Dame. I just, I still like their defense. I will lean with Jeremiah Love to run all over Miami rather than trust Carson Beck. So I will take Notre Dame. I will also lean the under. You have to take the reigning runner-up for the national championship over a coach that will most likely bleep himself late in close games.
So Matt did mention the stat I sent over that Notre Dame is 0-8 in their last 8 games against Miami in Miami. The last time Notre Dame pulled out a victory in Miami was 1977 with a 48-10 victory for the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame has beaten Miami in Tokyo, Japan, El Paso, Texas, and Chicago, Illinois since those points. Shout out Soldier Field. Notre Dame getting a win over Miami there once in like 2012. Give me the Hurricanes. Why not? This game, the Sunday night game, always feels like there's like one of those teams that, has been down for years and then they get a victory and Joe Tessitore is yelling something random like Texas is back, folks, or whatever. Sure, give me Miami. We'll be saying the U is back, the U 3.0, and then it will come crashing down when they lose to, who knows, SMU or Cal or Stanford. I don't even know who they play in the ACC this year. They'll probably lose to one of them, and then the U is dead again. But give me Miami. Why not? We'll do it for the fun of it. And then we'll move on to the final game of the weekend on Monday night. TCU, a 3.5-point favorite at UNC for Bill Belichick's first game as head coach. Jay Walsh, go to you first. This TCU team obviously was a major step back from the team that went to the national title a few years ago. They keep kind of dropping down since then. This is a good way to start their week one for them if they can pull out the victory here.
It is. I am frankly shocked that they're 3.5-point favorites on the road going halfway across the country. I said it in our first episode. I really don't like this North Carolina team. I don't think they're going to be that good, but I have to roll with them here. I mean, they're at home. You're telling me they can lose by a field goal and still cover in this game. I have to take them because TCU is not a good football team. As much as I don't like this North Carolina team, they do have talent. Obviously, I mean, it remains to be seen how that talent is going to mesh, considering basically their entire defense is brought in from the transfer portal. But I don't see a way that TCU goes halfway across the country to North Carolina in the first game in the Bill Belichick tenure at North Carolina. That stadium is going to be rocking as much as it can rock. I don't see a way for TCU to win this game by more than 3 points. So I'm going to roll with North Carolina here. I do like the over here. I think this is a game that could really get up there and just be kind of one of those quick score games, just because, like I said, I don't think either of these two defenses are either super talented in the case of TCU, or it remains to be seen how they're going to play together in the case of North Carolina. So I think over 56.5 is a reasonable bet here, but I I don't want to, but I really like North Carolina plus 3.5. This is one of my parlay picks later as well.
Jay, we'll go to you next. Obviously, that 56.5 number is one of the larger ones of the weekend, at least of the ones that we picked. Your thoughts on this game?
This is tough. I mean, you're getting 3 in the hook. I mean, that's very favorable. It's Bill Belichick's first game. I don't know what to expect, though. This is a team that added so much from the portal, just basically like a whole new team. So I really don't know what to expect, but I'm still gonna go with Jay Walsh here. I think 3 in the hook is it's gonna be a good game. So I will lean with North Carolina in this spot. I'll go North Carolina to win the game outright, I guess. It's just tough. I mean, TCU does have Josh Hoover, who's very, very, very solid quarterback for them. A junior coming back for them, I think, could do damage in the Big 12 this year, even though TCU is not a very good football team. So I like North Carolina in the spot, though. We'll have to see how Gio Lopez does and some of their transfers they got, because it is a new team. It's a whole new coaching staff. So I will lean with North Carolina, but very hesitant. I would not bet this game. I would stay away, to be honest. It's just both these teams are just real question marks. So,
Matt, we'll go to you next here. The last time we saw this North Carolina team on the field, Freddie Kitchens was the interim coach, and they were playing in the Fenway Bowl, where they got absolutely blown out by the greatest team of all time, the UConn Huskies, led by Jim Mora. How does North Carolina bounce back from that humiliating loss to a team that is an independent into this game? How do they not have that on their minds?
It's tough to say. Obviously, UConn looking. I don't know how UConn looks this year. Can be completely honest with you, Nick? But in terms of North Carolina in this game,
they could be 10-0 when they face Duke.
Anyways, I like the over in this game. North Carolina is so volatile. I don't know. We don't know what we're going to get with them. I know that Josh Hoover's back for TCU. They were I think they went 8-4 last year, 8-5, something like that. And they didn't play anybody. Like, they played the SMU and they got into a shootout and lost to the Mustangs early in the year. And they lost some games to teams that weren't very good. They beat some not great teams too. But I don't know what we're getting. 3.5 is a dangerous number. I'd probably take UNC simply because it's just because of that half a point can make up all the world. But I'm just going to stay away from this one. I don't know what to expect. I wanted to take UNC plus 3.5. But I think in my years I've grown more, I don't even wise, I guess, to just, if it looks fishy, it feels fishy, just stay as far away as possible. But I like the over, and I lean North Carolina plus 3.5.
All right, I must correct. UConn could be 9-0 going into that Duke game in mid-November. Counted some of those games wrong, but Matt, go take a look at that schedule and tell me they can't be 9-0. That's all I'm saying. North Carolina, Bill Belichick, Freddie Kitchens. That's a recipe for disaster, sounds like. Freddie Kitchens probably going to, it's going to be 4th and 9. And he's going to run a, running back draw, and it's going to go for 1 yard. Can't wait to see that happen. Can't wait to have war flashbacks of the 2018 Cleveland Browns season. God, that was terrible. But hey, here we are, week 1. Like Matt said, this line seems very fishy, so I want to stay away from it. But if I have to pick, give me North Carolina plus that 3.5. Again, very fishy line. I don't like it, but here we are. So that's the preview for this week. Let's get into the picks. I don't even remember what the standings ended up at last year. They ended somewhere with all of us finishing between 1 and 4. That's about all I can tell you. So, given that, Matt, we'll just start with you. You are the namesake of the sports book. So we'll just start with your parlay and let's go from there.
My only comment to last year is, Nick, I believe you and I were first and second. I think you were first. I think.
Sounds about right, but I
feel like Jay
couldn't
Walsh
tell
and
you.
Jay were really fighting to finish 500, if I remember correctly. I mean, I was only at like 53%, but
We don't need to talk about that. We don't need to talk about last year. This is a new year. This is a
all I
new
know is
year.
I did some sage burning today to make sure that I will not be the Jay Walsh lock of the week cursed person for the year. But let's get into the picks. I have 6 picks for the week. Starting off on Friday night, we talked about it already. I'm taking Baylor plus the 2.5 against the Auburn Tigers. I like Baylor in the spot. We've talked about it. I don't trust Hugh Freeze, Jackson Arnold, the Auburn Tigers. They've struggled non-conference before, and Baylor at home at night. Gold chrome helmets. Give me the Bears. Sick 'em. Next up, also on Friday, Georgia Tech minus 4.5 against Colorado. Caden Salter was announced as the starter today for the Buffs. He was not very good last year for Liberty. He struggled in the Fiesta Bowl against Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks 2 years ago. And Colorado's got to put it all together. Their defense wasn't very good last year, and they didn't really add anything to boost themselves after losing Travis Hunter. Plus, they go out and they offensively are just going to have to piecemeal it together with the absence of Shadur. So who knows what they're going to look like this season. And I like the Georgia Tech's pretty much the same team as last year. Were they a great team? No, but they're really strong, and they're going to be really a tough team to beat in the ACC. Next up, I like Tennessee minus 13.5 against Syracuse in Atlanta. I said it before, I'll say it again. Death, taxes, and good SEC teams to dominate bad teams. Syracuse is terrible. Steve Angeli's not going to be very good. There's a reason he's not Notre Dame anymore. And Tennessee loves to dominate bad teams. Nico I was terrible last year, and they found a way to make him look like a stud to the first 4 weeks of the season. Next up, Alabama, minus 13.5. Death, taxes, and good SEC teams against terrible, bad teams. Moving on, I'll say it for a third time. Death, taxes, and good SEC teams dominating bad teams. Ole Miss, minus 35.5 versus Georgia State. Nick, you know what I'm about to say. We've been talking about NFL coordinators and head coaches. The offensive coordinator for Georgia State is Hugh Jackson. Need I say less? Ole Miss kills bad teams in non-conference, and Georgia State probably won't score a point. So give me Ole Miss and the Rebels minus 35.5 with the lane train rolling through. And then finally on Saturday night, late night on Fox, an old Pac-12 matchup, Utah minus 6.5 versus UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Nico isn't very good, and the weapons around him are not any good. Then Deshaun Foster's not a good coach. Utah is going to be really strong defensively again. They've had really good success against UCLA in conference play back when the Pac-12 was still around and original, for the last couple of years. Even when UCLA was a decent team, Utah is super consistent, and they're going to continue to be good. 6.5 at it's not really playing on the road necessarily. UCLA doesn't really have much of a home field. And the Utah defense is going to eat Nico I alive. So give me Utah minus 6.5. My lock is Tennessee. They're going to kill Syracuse. I could also make Alabama my lock. Those are 2 games I feel very confident in. So those are the 6 picks. You guys are up.
All right. I will go next. We'll just kind of go around here. We are going to start off on Thursday night in Kansas City as Cincinnati hosts Nebraska. Before we get into this, does anybody know where this game was originally supposed to be held?
The home of Jim Irsay.
Indeed. It was the home of Jim Irsay. This was supposed to be at Lucas Oil. That was announced in 2023. And then last year, it got announced that it was moving to Arrowhead. And here we are now. Why this? Because this is a Cincinnati home game. Why this wasn't just played at Paycor? No idea. But here we are anyways. Cincinnati can make a lot of money on this basically being a road game for them because it's going to be all Nebraska fans. And Scott Satterfield is a terrible coach. Give me Nebraska minus 6.5 to open up the season. We're going to move on to Saturday. The first of 2 FCS picks I have. Give me Merrimack plus 6.5 at Kent State. Kent State is awful. I believe they fired their head coach in like June. They're running an interim coach right now. They're like worse than awful. I honestly kind of lean Merrimack money line here, but I'm going to take the 6.5. Be a responsible person here, and just take what they give me. Give me Alabama minus 13.5 against Florida State. Again, we kind of went through it. Alabama should roll in this one. My second of FCS picks, give me Montana State plus 27.5 at Oregon. Even though I'm wearing the Bo Nix jersey right now, Oregon struggled mightily against Idaho last year in week 1. And, it was breaking in a new quarterback with, future Browns legend Dylan Gabriel at the helm last year. This year, I believe it's Dante Moore. I don't know if they officially announced that, but it feels like it's going to be him. Montana State's a much better team than Idaho was. I like Montana State to at least keep it within 4 touchdowns. So give me the Bobcats here to close it out. Give me Arizona State minus 28.5 against Northern Arizona. Was kind of on the edge here with picking Northern Arizona. I think Arizona State's going to be a really good team this year. Obviously went to the playoffs last year. I think they are due for a similar type of season this year. Give me the Sun Devils. Forks up. My lock of the week. Give me Nebraska because Scott Satterfield is absolutely atrocious head coach. Jay Walsh, will go to you.
All right, we are starting with a game that has already been mentioned. We're going Nebraska-Cincinnati. As you said, this game is being played in Arrowhead. There's no better opportunity for Dylan Raiola to put on his best Patrick Mahomes impression in this game. I'm rolling with Nebraska minus 6.5 here. Moving on, we've already talked about the game. Ohio State minus 2.5. I think it's a good call. Like I said, Texas is very talented, but I'm rolling with Ohio State here in Columbus. Third game I've got, and this is my lock of the week. So just know that you should absolutely bet against this game. I'm going with Tulane minus 5.5 here at home against Northwestern. This Northwestern team is not good. They are not going to be good this year. They are a really bad football team, and I like this Tulane team a lot. I believe, unless I'm mistaken, they were my pick to be the top group of 5 team this season in our first episode. They're a talented team. They've got weapons on offense. Their starting quarterback should be Jake Retzlaff. I know he's kind of a douche, but it should be Jake Retzlaff. It should not be Brendan Sullivan because he is really, really bad at football. So if it's Jake Retzlaff, I'm feeling so much better about this. But let's go with Tulane here. Moving on, I am then going to Fresno State. I am taking plus 1.5 against Georgia Southern. Bryson Donaldson, my RB2 in my college football fantasy league. That dude is a beast. I love him. EJ Warner, as Jay said in the pre-show, son of Kurt Warner. Can't pick against the boys. Georgia Southern having to travel all the way across the country to Fresno to play this game. Give me Fresno State plus 1.5 at home. And then my fifth game, I already mentioned it, North Carolina plus 3.5. I know none of you guys like it. I like it. Give me the Tar Heels at home.
And Jay, you will close us out for this week 1.
Yeah, so some of these trends I date back to last year. Now Indiana, all right. Indiana's got Fernando Mendoza. They got Elijah Surratt coming back. They play Old Dominion. Obviously Signetti. We'll see how they do this year in the second year, but he loves to kill bad teams. I'll take them minus the 23.5. They're still going to be a solid football team, so I like them minus the 23.5 at home. Utah, UCLA. I also like Utah minus the 6. I mean, Nico I wasn't great last year, and their roster is just not very good to begin with. And Utah's kind of trying to come back to where they were, before the last few years. Last year was not very good, so I like them in a bounce back spot for this year. So I'll take them minus the 6 at the Rose Bowl, where it's probably gonna be filled with a bunch of Utah fans. We're gonna go Army. Then we're gonna go off the rails here. Army versus Tarleton State. I like Army minus the 14.5. I mean, Army also likes to kill bad teams, the FCS teams. So I like Army minus the 14.5. I feel like that number is a little too low. And then obviously this entire committee is just going to get railed when this doesn't hit. Alabama FC at FSU. I like Bama minus 13.5. And that's going to be my lock. So it's not a good sign that we're all rolling with Bama in our parlays. So give me give me the troops. So there we go. And then Roll Tide.
I don't know what to say.
I do.
Yeah.
That's a technical foul. Betting Army. I don't care. Jay, do you even have access to watch that game?
No, I do not. I don't plan on watching.
Why are you betting it?
Because it's Army versus Tarleton State, and Army
Charleston Southern.
They play Tarleton State.
It's Charleston Southern.
Matt, they play Tarleton State.
Who?
Tarleton State.
Tarleton State.
Tarleton State.
Jesus.
I think so. Why are you betting this, Jay?
Because it's the troops. Stop disrespecting the troops. That's why.
Matt, do you even know what channel this is on?
Is it on CBS Sports Network?
It is.
Of course it is.
So there we go.
If it was on Fox Sports 2, you wouldn't be able to watch it this weekend. Oh, Tarleton. I can't get saying Charleston.
No.
Tarleton.
Obviously, you can't hear me, so I don't even, whatever. But, Charleston State.
What time is that game? Jay, what time is that game? And what day?
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
It's on Friday at 6.
It doesn't matter. So we're back in the troops against an FCS team.
Jesus.
So there we go.
I don't really know where to go from here. I can tell you one thing. That's not the most important game that's going to be on CBS Sports Network this weekend. Sunday night, huge game, 7 p.m. It's the Labor Day Classic. Winnipeg Blue Bombers at Saskatchewan Roughriders. Oh, I love this rivalry. I can't wait. I will be, I'll be locked in. 7 p.m. kickoff on the Plains in Regina. This team is so good, except against the Calgary Stampeders. I cannot wait to watch this and have my hopes dashed when Winnipeg wins by like 15. Can't wait. But it's a huge week. It's a huge week for all of us. Obviously, college football back. Jay Walsh and Jay, I know you'll be locked in on Thursday afternoon for the Champions League group stage draw. Matt, I know you won't because Leicester City's just dead in the championship right now. Can't be good. But I know, Jay, you'll be locked in to see where Chelsea goes. Jay Walsh, I know you're going to be locked in to see where Newcastle find their way in the Champions League this year. Tottenham, of course, going to find out who they're playing. Really hoping we don't get drawn against Karat Altamay, who are in Kazakhstan and the city borders China. So, that's basically a road trip to Asia. Sounds like a real fun trip for the Tottenham boys. I got nothing else. I'm rambling on about soccer now. So we're going to wrap up this week 1 episode. Do you guys have anything else before we close out here?
Alexander Isak is a bitch.
Hey, that is something. At least I don't even know what to say about that. You're not wrong. So we'll just end it there. So thank you so much for watching. this episode of the Merrifield Sportsbook Show. We will, of course, be back next week to preview week 2. We'll probably talk about what happened in week 1 too. So make sure you tune in. Thank you so much for watching. For Jay Walsh, for Jay DeCosta, for Matt Merrifield, I'm Nick Burt. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you again soon for another episode of the Merrifield Sportsbook Show.